Hi everybody, got some really shocking news for you today. Call of Duty 4's Blackout Battle Royale game is not a PUBG killer, despite what you might have seen and read and heard on the internet, and especially on YouTube where people exaggerate things in order to get lots and lots of views and likes. It's very good, but it's different to PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. The two games complement each other, but you'll have different adventures in each one, and each one tells you a different story, and you will create different stories within each one. And it kind of comes down to this, the fact that PUBG, it's been good and we've enjoyed it for the last several months, not because it's a battle royale, but because of the way Bluehole and Brendan Green have put together a game with the environment, the gameplay, the gunplay, the graphics and sounds, that sort of semi-realistic look that we really enjoyed, and that is set in a battle royale game mode. If it was in team deathmatch or domination or conquest like Battlefield, we would enjoy it just as much. And the same goes for Call of Duty as well. Call of Duty has become the juggernaut it has, not because of team deathmatch or domination or free-for-all or search and destroy. It's because the engine and the gunplay and the gameplay is fun and we've enjoyed it. And that is reflected in the differences between these two games, and especially with Call of Duty, where they're on this 3-year cycle where a different publisher or set of publishers work on each game every year. This year with the Battle Royale, luckily we've had Treyarch work on it, who I'm a big fan of in terms of Black Ops 3, Black Ops 2, Black Ops 1, and they've created a Battle Royale that feels the way I really like in terms of Call of Duty. But Blackout is a lot more cartoony than PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. You can see by the look of it. Now, it runs superbly well. It zips along. It's probably hitting 60 frames a second most of the time, but it's not as gritty and semi-realistic as PUBG is. Blackout is much faster than PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Now, sure, you can drop hot, and you can dive in, drop in Skull or Picado or something like that, or Sandhawk now, have some really good firefights. But generally, because of the sizes of the maps, in PUBG, like you can see in the video here on Erangel, you can fly a long way away from the flight path and really loot in peace and not have to worry about anything, and have that quite relaxing but tense situation as things start to ramp up. Whereas in Blackout, pretty much as soon as you hit the ground, almost anywhere you go there's going to be other players, because you've got 80 players dropping into a map probably the size of Sanhok, maybe the size of the Fortnite map, and they're spread everywhere. And from the flight of the helicopters in Blackout's case, using your wingsuit, you can pretty much get anywhere in the map you want to. As I said before, the weapons feel different. In Blackout, the weapons feel like Call of Duty weapons, fast firing, very little recoil, easy to control, they sound great. In PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, we have really good sounding weapons, but they feel differently. You get a lot more recoil. It's a lot more difficult to control the guns in PUBG. The atmosphere is very different between the games as well. On Erangel in PUBG, we have this kind of post-apocalyptic kind of Russian feel, and then we have Central America on Miramar, and then we have the jungles of Southeast Asia on the new Savage map, Sandhawk, where this is set sort of, probably northwestern California type of environment. Now, I have to say, and then we've got to give big kudos to Call of Duty for creating this map, because it could be like the H1Z1 map, it could be like the Fortnite map, where you don't have really that much verticality and that much texture in terms of the rocks and the defilades and the ups and downs. The Call of Duty map on Blackout has just as many rocks and places to hide and crawl behind as somewhere like Erangel has, and I'm really pleased about that. In fact, it probably has more. It's more on akin to Miramar in terms of certain parts of the map like that. The sounds of the two games, again, in PUBG, you kind of have the quietness. You have this really quietness. And then all of a sudden you have massive violence of guns firing, or you're caught in the red zone and artillery's coming in, or an aeroplane's flying over. Whereas in Blackout, you've got the announcer, chatting away quite often, kind of urging you on to keep you moving. Aim assist is a big thing. In Blackout, we have aim assist, so you know when you're dragging your sights across somebody, it will slow your crosshairs down a little bit, so it can help you. You don't have any of that in PUBG. What's going to be really interesting, I think, is, and I haven't done any squad play with friends yet, but playing squads with PUBG is fantastic fun. You know, we have some great times. But in Blackout, there's helicopters and there's trucks. Can you imagine flying around the map in a helicopter with your mates hanging out the side, you know, for shooting at other people? That is going to be such good. Or getting a truck and trying to drive it underneath the supply drop to capture it and then drive off in it. You know, that is going to be really, really good. Now, also, Blackout has a lot more polish than PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. It feels smooth. It seems to work very well. Now, it has crashed a couple of times, but this is the beta, where, you know, the menus seem okay, whereas, you know, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, and let's remember, it is really a budget title. It only cost £25 when it came out, and this is a kind of £60 title, so there's a lot of difference there as well. I think perhaps the part of PUBG that will really get hammered on the head by Blackout is the Sandhock jungle map. You know, that fast-paced thing. I think Blackout does fast-paced Battle Royale better than the Sandhock jungle map does. But with Erangel and Miramar, we've got these longer term, more strategic, more tactical maps. And we have to remember that Blackout is a really complicated game in terms of all the different things that are in it. We've got helicopters, we've got trucks, we've got perks. You know, you can pick up like a dead silence perk. That really changes things when you get to the final circles. If someone's got dead silence on, you can't hear them coming up on you. I haven't come across an awareness perk where you could then hear footsteps better, but there probably is one. Rocket launchers, grappling hooks, armor. In order to, you know, to balance all this stuff, it's very difficult. And that means that there's a lot of randomness when you're playing the game. So no matter what you do, even if you tick all the right boxes to say, yeah, you know, I'm on for a win now, someone might have a remote control car that they can use to go over a hill and see where you are. That sort of thing. So with PUBG, it's much more easy to balance, and with the kit and the weapons you pick up, the tactical and strategic choices you make will make a bigger difference in terms of the game, where you come in the game and whether you've got a chance of getting a chicken dinner or a victory. And I think I'll kind of go back to what I said at the beginning. I think you can have different adventures in both games. You'll create different stories. There's a lot of overlap. You know, when you're in that top 10 in a solo and your hands are getting sweaty and are starting to shake, that is PUBG and that is Blackout, and it's very, very similar that way. But the early to mid parts of the game are going to be very different. What is definite is it's really good to have this competition between the two brands. You know, the fact that we've got Blackout because of the amazing success of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds has driven Activision to create and spend an awful lot of money and an awful lot of time. Remember, probably at the expense of the campaign for this year's Call of Duty, to create this polished Battle Royale experience that undoubtedly the guys at EA and DICE, or Criterion, who are making Battlefield 5's Battle Royale, looking at it, go, whoa, ours better be as good as this, because this plays very, very well. And similarly, the guys at Bluehole and PUBG must be looking at that and going, right, okay, you know, we need to step up a little bit in terms of what we're doing. If this is the standard that Call of Duty can reach on consoles, especially, you know, then we need to really make like the Xbox version better, and we really need to think about getting on that PlayStation platform, because there are so many PlayStation, you know, there's more PlayStations out than Xboxes, and those players are desperate for the Battle Royale experience. They've embraced Fortnite, they've kind of played quite a lot of bit of H1Z1, but this is the game they have to buy to play, and it will give them a really good experience, and they're missing out on that PlayerUnknown's experience. However, as I said before, I do think both games complement each other very well. And what I do think is that Call of Duty players who get Blackout and play it, and they go, oh, actually, I really fancy Battle Royale. I like this game mode. I like this non-respawn strategic and tactical way of thinking. Why don't I have a go at the original? I think then they will try out PUBG. And I think if you're really into PUBG as well, And Battle Royale, you go, just like myself, you go, oh, I fancy checking this out and I'll try this. But I think at the end of the day, if you're really into PUBG and you're really into that slightly slower, more strategic, more tactical, more considered way of doing things, PUBG's going to stay as your main game. Sure, you might dabble with Blackout and you'll enjoy it, especially with your friends, but it doesn't have that PUBG feel. Similarly, if you're really into Call of Duty, and especially Black Ops Call of Duty, you'll play Blackout and you'll really like it, and you go, all right, this is like that, and maybe you'll do a bit of PUBG and go, right, okay, I quite like that, but it's a bit slow for me. You know, I like the faster pace, and Call of Duty Blackout will stay as your main game. So there we go. Blackout is not the PUBG killer lots of people are telling us about, but it is an amazing complement to PUBG, and we are so lucky to have two really good Battle Royale games at our fingertips as console players. Okay, so that's enough from me. Put your questions and comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, hit like. If you want to see more of the same, press subscribe. Thank you very much, and I will see you again soon.